Or not? Yes. So let us start this session. Let me share my screen. So in our previous sessions, we have started with the discussion of inheritance, right? So in the inheritance, we have seen how you are going to create your child class from a parent class, or you can also say is a base class. Okay. So you are basically using the keyword extends for extending your child class from a parent class. Okay. Now, what was happening if you are going to extend a child class from a parent class is you can able to access all the properties or the methods which are present inside your parent class into the child class. That is what you can able to do. And yeah, so that is nothing but my inheritance. Now, there are basically two rules in our inheritance. So, what are the two rules we have? Is rule number one is the child can access the parent class properties, and the rule number two is the parent cannot access the child class properties. This is what we have seen in our two rules. Okay. Now, let us see about rule number three also. We will have one more rule. Let us try to understand that particular rule. What is that it is saying? Now, let's say if I'm going to write down, 1 minute, give me a minute. Let me enable this. Yeah. So let us have one more scenario also where we are going to simply write this down. So if I'm going to write down a particular parent class handle, let's say my parent class handle is C1. So for C1, what I'm going to declare is P1 underscore H. Okay. And let me create an object for this p1 underscore h is equal to new. Okay. Now for my child class, I'm creating one more handle c2 c1 underscore h. I've created one more handle and I'm creating an object for this. Now let's say if I'm going to write down p1 underscore h is equal to c1 underscore h. What do you think? Is it going to work or not? This is my case number. Yeah, sorry for that. So here, if I'm going to create a parent class handle for C1, C1 is my parent class, right? So I'm going to create a parent class handle P1 underscore H. And I've created an object for this. And for child class, I've created one more handle as C1 underscore H and I've created an object for this. Now, if I'm going to write down parent class handle is equal to child class handle, P1 underscore H is equal to C1 underscore H, is it going to work or not? What do you think? If I'm trying to assign my parent class to child class, what is going to happen? Sorry, if I'm going to assign child to parent, what is going to happen? This we need to check it out. And the second one is, let's say if I'm going to write down C1 underscore H is equal to P1 underscore H, what is going to happen? These two cases we need to check it out. Okay. So let me share my EDA screen. 1 minute. Yeah, this is the third rule. I haven't started yet. Just this scenario we have taken and the rule we will establish. Okay. So let us write down the code for that. So I'm simply going to write down class C1. It is going to have a simple property and followed by end class. And I'm going to take one more class C2 which extends from C1. So C2 becomes a child class for my C1. Okay. And I'm going to take a property int B and end class. This is my child class. And let me take it in a module. And within an initial beginning block, what I'm going to do is I'm first going to create the handles for these two classes. So initial begin C1, C1 and let's say parent P1 underscore H. And for C2, let us create child C1 underscore H. Okay. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to create the object for my P1. P1 underscore H is equal to new and C1 underscore H is equal to new. Okay. Now what I'm trying to do is I'm going to assign C1 to P1. Like this, I'm going to write down P1 underscore H is equal to C1 underscore H and end module. And let me run this. Let us see what is going to happen. So I'm not getting any particular thing. So it is being successfully running. So I can simply assign my child class to a parent class. Okay. Is it clear? And let us write it down in the reverse way. Let's say suppose C1 underscore H is equal to P1 underscore H. Now, what is it we are going to get? Let us see. Now we are going to get error that incompatible types at assignment C1 underscore H, P1 underscore H, testment 26. Can you able to see this? Yes. So let us see what is basically happening. So in the case number one, which we have took over here, what happened to this? So in the case number one, which we have took over here, is we have declared a parent handle and we are assigning it to a child handle. So that means we have a parent object and this parent handle is now pointing to my child handle. Is it possible? Yes, because whatever the properties which we were having in the parent, those properties are also will be present inside my child. Okay. For example, in my parent, I am going to have two properties A and B. Those properties will also be present inside my child, right? So that's why my parent can point to a child. No problem in that. But in the case number two, if you carefully observe, if we are going to write down child is equal to parent, then what is happening? For a parent, we have an object, and now if the child is pointing towards an object, this particular parent, this particular parent, it is consisting of two properties, but this child can have another extra properties also now that will not be present inside this parent object. That is the reason this assignment is not possible. Okay, let me repeat it one more time. So when we are going to write down parent is equal to child, that means my parent is pointing towards a child object. Okay, so this child can have one property A, B, that is the properties which are already present inside my parent and also some extra properties. So that's why if we try to assign P is equal to C, it will be allowed. But if we are trying to assign child is equal to parent, that means if we are trying to point a child handle to a parent handle, this parent will have some properties, but the properties which are present in child are not present in parent now. That is the reason this particular assignment is not possible. Is it clear? Is it clear, guys? Yes or no? Please let me know. Okay, that's great. Yes. So this is nothing but our rule number three, which we are going. Yeah. Yes. So parent will be pointing towards child like this, and here child will be pointing towards parent. Yeah. So if we are going to write down a equal to zero, zero is assigned to a, right? Okay. Exactly. If we are going to write down p is equal to c, that means p is pointing towards c. And when we are creating any object also, so here p1 is equal to new, right? So now p1 is pointing towards a new object, c1 is pointing towards a new object. Okay, yeah. So you can remember that. So here the parent is having some set of properties, let's say A, B, and child is having another set of properties C, D. So already A, B are also present in child. That's why this assignment is possible. But here, when child is pointing towards parent, parent is having only some set of properties, and child is having another extra set of properties like C and D, right? That is missing in my parent object. That is why this assignment is not possible. Okay. So that is the reason case 1 is possible and case 2 is not possible. Right. Now, so let us try to understand about one more keyword over here, which is nothing but my super. So previously we have discussed about this keyword. So this keyword basically refers to the local copy, whereas super keyword refers to the parent properties or objects. It will basically refers to parents properties, or you can also say methods. Okay. So how I'm going to access it, let us try to have with an example so it will be clear. So let's say this is my parent and this is my child, and in my parent I'm going to have function new, and this new function what it is going to do is it is just going to display the value of a dollar display, or else let's say displaying from C1. Let's write this and followed by end function. Now inside my C2's new function, what are we going to do is whenever this C2 object will be created, we are automatically calling the parent class new method. That's it. So here super.new basically refers to parent class new method. If we want to call my parent class new method, then I'm basically going to use super keyword and I'm going to refer to that. Okay. Yes. So let me run this and let me show you how it is working. Okay. Let me first of all comment this incompatible type of assignment and let us run this. See. So displaying from C1, displaying from C1. Let me show you what is happening. So if I'm just creating the object for my parent, P1 is equal to new. So it is being called. So let me, okay. Uh, okay, if I'm calling this, I'm getting the, let me comment to this line. No need of creating my parent. Let me create the child object only and let me run it and let me show you again. Yeah. So displaying from C1. What is happening over here? So if I'm creating an object for my C1, this new function is being called, which is present inside my C2. And in the C2 new function, we are calling the new function which is present inside my parent. Okay. So we are going here and we are calling this displaying from C1. That is what we are going to get over here. Is it clear how to use your super keyword? Any queries in this? Okay, that's great. Okay. Now, now let us have a scenario over here. Let me come into this. So let's say if I'm going to have a module and the module name is test, and here I'm going to have int a, and let's say I'm going to have one more int b. Okay. So inside this I've created, and let me create a class C1. Okay. So this is my class and I have two properties. Now I will have a function over here. So what is this function? I'm going to create function incr, function void incr. Okay. So what is this function is going to do is it is going to increment the value of a and it is going to increment the value of b. Okay. And let us display it also. Dollar display the value of percentage d comma e. And also b value I'm going to display. Okay. And followed by end function. Now and followed by end class. Now for this particular class, I'm going to create two handles. So C1 underscore H comma C1 underscore H1 comma C1 underscore H2. I've created two handles for this. And within an initial block, what I'm going to do is C1 underscore H1 is equal to new. And for second one also, let me create the object quickly. Yeah. So after creating the object, if I'm going to call my function, what is the function name over here? INCR. Okay. And I'm going to call the function, but using another handle, I'm going to call the function and, end model. Okay. If you carefully observe here, I'm calling the function INCR using first handle And next I'm calling the function incr using the second handle. Now, what will be my outputs which is going to be displayed? Like what will be my output A and what will be my output B that is going to be displayed? Can anyone tell me? Just give it a guess. What is that I'm going to get if I'm going to call my function with two different handles? What will be my value of A and what will be my value of B? Okay, let's check it out. Let's check it out. Yes. So the value of A is 1, the value of B is 1, the value of A is 1, the value of B is 1. So if we want to maintain still some clarity, let me add a string over here. Percentage s comma s. Okay. Here also let me add the string percentage s. Okay. And whenever I am going to call the function, I will pass the handle name so that I can maintain the clarity over here. C1 underscore H2. Let me run this. It's a string, right? We need to pass it the double quotes. So what is that we are going to get? C1 underscore H1, the value of A is 1. C1 underscore H1, the value of B is 1. And C1 underscore H2, value of A is 1. C1 underscore H2, the value of B is 1. So what is happening over here? So for C1 underscore H1, you are going to create one object. And here, when you're going to call the function, it is incrementing the value of A and it is incrementing the value of B. And for C1 underscore H2, you are creating one more object. And if you're going to call the function, then it is creating a separate memory where your values of A and B are updated. This is what it is happening. Okay. Yes. I hope this is clear, right? Any queries in this? This is very clear, right? Now, this is case number one. Let us assume this is case number one. Now, let's take one more case over here. Let's take case number. So in the case number two, what I'm going to do is I'm going to call my incr function and I'm going to pass c1 underscore h1. Okay. And I'm going to call the function again, but using the same handle c1 underscore h1. Now, what will be the value that will be given if I'm going to run this? I'm going to call the function, but using the same handle only, not different handles. I'm going to call it using the different handles only. Let me come into the case one, and now you can tell me what is that you're going to get. I'm going to call the function using my same handle, not the different handles. I'm going to call it using the same handles. Exactly. So what I'm going to get, let us see. So I'm going to get A is equal to 1, B is equal to 1, A is equal to 2, B is equal to 2. Obviously, because we are using the same handle now. If we are going to use the same handle and if we are going to call the function for two number of times, it is going to refer to the same object now. So only this property, the properties which are present in this object will be updated and the value will become 2 and this value will become 2. Okay. That is what it is happening. Okay. Now, case number 2 and case number 1, are they clear? Any doubts or any queries in this? Okay, that's great. Now, let us take one keyword which is known as static. Okay. So let's keep static over here. Okay. And it is normal variable. Okay. And let me increment this. So let me comment the case number 2 and let us take the case number 1. Now, let's see what is happening if you are going to use a keyword static with your property and normal variable. If you are going to use, let me run this and let me show you what is going to happen. So the value of A you can see over here, it is becoming 1 and the value of B is equal to 1. This is for the very first time if you are going to call the function. Wait a minute. Let me comment the case number 2. Yeah, case number 2 is already commented. Okay. So this is the values you are going to get when you're going to call the function for very first time. Now you can see over here the value of a is 2. Okay. If you're going to call the function second time but using the different handle, you can see the value of a is 2 but the value of b is 1. That means if you are going to use a static keyword, let me show you over here. So if you are going to use a static keyword with your property, static with property, if you are going to use, then what is going to happen is the property which you are going to use, let's say suppose static int a, then this property will be used with, then this property will be shared with two different handles. So the two handles will be pointing towards the same property. So if you are going to increment this value, this property will be updated to 1. And if you are going to call the function using the second handle, this property will be updated to 2. That is what it is happening if you are going to use static keyword. But if you are not using your static keyword over here, the different memory copies will be used for different properties. Different memory copies will be created for the same property. Okay. Is it clear? The static keyword and without using static keyword, not audible. Am I audible, guys? Okay. Once check it from your side. Yeah. Okay. Is it clear? The static keyword, if you are going to use the static keyword and if you are not going to use the static keyword, the differences are they clear? Any doubts or any queries in this? Sure. I will explain. So if you're not using static keyword over here, and if you're calling the function two number of times, but you're going to call the function first time using first handle, and if you're going to call the function second time using the second handle, what is happening over here? Two different objects have been created. So the first handle was pointing towards the first handle was pointing towards first object, and second handle is pointing to its separate object. So for this property, an object is created, and for this property, another separate object has been created. When you're going to call the function, you're going to refer to this object, and if you're going to call the function using this handle, you are going to refer to this object. But if you're going, and you can see the result also. Let me run this without using the static keyword. See, you can see the value of a using c1 underscore h1 is 1, value of b is 1. And if you're going to call the function using c1 underscore h2, that is second handle, the value of a is again 1 and b is again 1 because you are referring to separate memory. But if you are going to use the static keyword over here, let me use the static keyword and let me run this. Then what is happening over here? The value of a is 1 and the value of b is 1 when you are going to use the first handle. But if you are going to use the second handle, these two handles are now pointing towards the same property because you have created it as static now. So that's why these two handles is now pointing towards the same property. And that's why if you're going to call the function with the second handle, you're updating the previous, you're updating the same a pointer only, same a property only. That is why the value of a is becoming 2. And the value of b is 1 because the b has separate memory. You are pointing towards this particular separate memory which is present for b. So you're pointing for b, and this has another copy of b. This will be equal to 1, and here it will be equal to 1. Now is it clear? Exactly. Yes, I will uncomment. And let's uncomment. It will work normally only. So if we are going to call the function with the same handle, it will just increment the same property only. So the value of a is now 4 and the value of b is equal to 3. Yes. Is it clear? So up to here, is it clear? Any doubts or any queries in this? Okay, that's fine. Yes. So I think we can wrap our session over here. Yes. So if you have any other doubts or any other queries you wanted to discuss, you can stay and discuss with me, or else you can leave the session. So in our next session, we will start with static functions.